Hello, welcome back to Me with Margaret. Me stands for Motivate, Educate and Engage. It's a platform where we talk about things that impact on us, our community, our families, our children. And remember, like I said before, if you haven't, I would really appreciate you subscribing, liking and sharing. I don't just want to be the one talking. I'd like to hear from you actually, because you know what? We all have that experience. We all have that knowledge. We have that understanding. So we're sharing, we're engaging, we're educating each other. But you might have a thought. You might have a comment. So we'd like to hear from you. Somebody needs to hear from you. So welcome once again to Me with Margaret. Today, I'm going to continue from where I stopped. Rejection. In my last video, I spoke about rejection, how it impacted on me as a person, my lived experience, and maybe as a parent, how you experienced it. But today I want to focus on, rejection and its impact and the well-being of our children. What happens to them? How do they handle it? How do we handle being rejected? So we're flipping the coin again and focusing on something that is closer to home, children and teens, because this is another aspect of rejection and it can be devastating. It can be so painful, especially when it's close to home, when it's about somebody that is close to you. This one has to do with children and parents. Children who feel rejected and undervalued, by their parents, they tend to become, how do I say it? They feel low, more anxious, insecure. And this rejection impacts, it can impact on their lives, not just from as a child, but as they grow older, and it impacts on who they become. And because this rejection is perceived as real, it can be more painful. And if this is not addressed over time, these children start to have chronic self-doubt. They become depressed. They may even develop hostility and aggression towards others, towards peers, towards teachers, towards friends. And later on in life, it can linger into their adulthood. And we don't want that to happen. So that's why we want to talk about that a bit more. That is about children and how it impacts on them. So we have to be aware of that. But what if the roles are reversed? What if it's the parents that is being rejected by the child? Because you'll be surprised that this does happen. It often happens. In fact, it does not often, it happens a lot. When there's conflict in the home, where there's poor communication, where parents don't understand the upbringing or how they need to support their children's upbringing, where the child does not understand that a parent is coming from a different community, a different culture, where there's a cause for alienation and the child doesn't want anything to do with the parent because they don't believe that the parent understands them well enough. There's that tendency to reject them. And then what happens? The parents will reject the child in return. So there's that conflict is what we're dealing with, especially in one of the programs I'm running, My Child and Me. What happens? Whoever the target is, rejection is hurtful. If we react to the situation emotionally, rather than try and assess and understand the circumstances, or try to get a feedback, or get support that is needed, we run the risk of damaging our relationships. Trust me. I was in a session just this week and the parent was saying, my child should understand. Why is she not learning? And then the child is retaliating in a way that is not positive. And so we can deny our teenagers the space they need to spread their wings. And then they push us away. So we need to be aware of that. So what can we do, parents? What can we do, dads? What can we do, mom? I have this to say, but you might have something else to add to it. We need to remain steadfast in our love for our children. Wow, that's a big one, isn't it? even when that love is not reciprocated, when that love is not given back, we should aim to continue to nurture our relationships until, and I'm not saying this lightly, until they transform into one that is more mature and there's more of a mutual connection. It can take time. It's a process, but it can be done. Also, there's nothing to be ashamed of when you speak up and you seek help. And I think this is very important. Let's seek support. There are a lot of community, there are a lot of groups. I have a few of them in the line of work I do, where we call what we call parent space, when you can talk about behavior, when you can talk about issues and get the support you need and be able to say, I need to press on with this. I need to support this child. I need to support this teenager. Because what we don't want is to push them away. What we don't want is that even when they seem to be far away, we don't want to push them away further. So let's look at rejection a bit more. Let's deal with it ourselves. Let's be confident in ourselves. So coming through or coming from where I left on the last video, looking at how we feel as parents, but also looking at how the child feels, how that teenager feels in their developing, what they want to get out of life, and support them on their journey. So thank you for watching again. Remember, I'd like to hear from you because this is a deep subject. It's a deep issue, but it's a real one. And if we want to support our children the way they need to be supported, then we need to think about what rejection does, how it impacts. So if you want to hear more about me or my child and me, please get in touch. I look forward to hearing from you next time on Me with Margaret. Thank you for watching.